Hey kids, it's time for Pizza and Pop Culture with our Rogues Gallery of Talent. Coming at you on location from Eastside Pizza in Wallingford, Connecticut. Now serving up geek pizza with extra cheese.
Pizza and Pop Culture. We're recording here at Eastside Pizza in lovely bucolic downtown Wallingford.
Bucolic.
I'm here with the lovely, talented, and powerful Mr. Shitty Beef.
We all have him.
Batman himself, Alexopoulos Spaulding.
Isn't it bats?
Holy loud
Bats,
bats.
we call them.
Only here it's bats.
Only
Are you doing a test recording? Next to him, we're recording now.
Right now.
Lovely host of this event and kind of the inspiration for this, Mr. Angelo Q. Alexopoulos.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Of course I can
Next
speak
to
louder.
me is the mighty.
The incomparable.
Which one? Peter Bradley.
Well, hello there. I thought for a second there you were going to say the incompetent. Hello. Hello, this is Peter.
And me, I'm
Check,
I'm
1,
nobody.
2. I'm a little loud.
Ladies and gentlemen, live from East
Ooh,
Side.
yeah, that's right.
Sound good.
So what we're
Hello.
gonna do? What are we gonna do here, guys? We decided that we want to do a podcast that's not about comic books specifically, or movies specifically, or Star Trek specifically, or anything like that. We wanted to kind of diversify.
Well, yeah, whenever we get together, it's usually some sort of BS session about whatever pop culture thing happens to be in our head at any given moment.
Or annoying us.
Or annoying us, exactly.
Kids
So
these
basically capture that magic in a bottle, so to speak, and see what we can do here on the old digital format.
I'd like to level set and define what pop culture is according to the dictionary. I'm going to pick up my microphone.
I just asked you.
We
if
all
you
sound
wanted
like we're on
to-
NPR.
Pop culture, modern popular culture transmitted via the mass media and aimed particularly at younger people. That excludes all of us. No. That includes fashion, music, and the iconography of pop culture offered the perfect medium for profit. It's all about money.
Perhaps we chose the wrong topic.
No, we
No.
What are you saying?
So,
why is talking about pop culture important?
because we're nerds. That's why, Alan. Because
Absolutely.
we're geeks. Because we go to Comic Cons and we watch Star Trek and we listen to older rock music that's now dead.
And
It's turning into oil. It's so fucking old.
But it affects the universe. Why? Why is pop culture important to our listeners, to the people listening?
I think because we're a celebrity-obsessed culture here in America. I mean, we really are. I mean, we put the Kardashians on some kind of a pedestal. They have no talent. They've done nothing.
Whoa, you went right for the...
Right for it.
Right for the jugular.
Well, let's back the truck up here, motherfucker. Hang on a second. Angelo, you're a pensive man. Why is pop culture important?
That's a very good question, Alan.
Why is it important to you?
To me, it keeps me going in life.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's something maybe uniquely inherent to us here in the United States, I would think, for the most part.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so.
We set the tone for the universe,
We-
really.
I would not argue that
Okay.
that point at all, Alan. Absolutely.
What about you, Pedro?
Well, I think pop culture's always been with us in one form or another. Be it like hey, what's happening with the Greek and Roman gods, all the way up through H. Scott Fitzgerald and all sorts of and then current novelists and the new Flash Gordon serials. It's always been with us, but just the type of form that it's taken has just evolved over time with changes in media.
Would you like to put a specific timestamp on that? Would you say 1975 when Jaws became the first
Ooh.
major blockbuster? I mean, from
I
that
think, yeah,
point
that's
on, you end
probably
up with
a
Rocky and Star Wars, and then
Yeah, the mid to late 70s is probably a good point to say when pop culture really started to explode. Yeah,
because we're kind of the first generation that saved our toys and saved our posters and our comic books and all this kind of
That's
thing. Up
right,
to
yeah.
that point, it was pretty disposable. So what we
Yeah.
want to do on this show is bi-weekly 60 minutes, at least to start, right? And we're going to carve it up into several segments, maybe 3 20-minute segments an episode, or maybe 2 half hours, or maybe one episode dedicated to one topic. But we're going to spray it all over the place and go from there. So I think for our first segment here, we're just going to, let's just spitball. Let's
Okay.
just talk about what's relevant
I was
and what
never
we want to
able
talk
to
about.
do this.
Let's start with Angelo.
Well, now
since-
you mentioned earlier, as you opened up the podcast, about the many different ways that pop culture has transformed into.
Mhm.
Streaming now has become this mass,
yeah.
This runaway locomotive that's just not going to stop.
Yeah.
And is it ever going to stop? Is it going to get to a point where it's? I think right now it's kind of a little oversaturated, and it just keeps getting, I don't know, worse. I don't know.
Well,
I mean,
that,
how do you keep up with it, man?
that's an interesting. It's funny.
I
you-
don't. I've stayed far away from that as possible.
I have a healthy balance. It's funny because you bring that up too, because I just watched a recent episode of South Park where it's called Basic Cable was the name of the episode, and it talks right about this. This is the advent of television 3.0, Alan. This goes back to our podcast from 2007 when our friend Philip Hodgetts was talking about this very thing back that long ago. And he went to the Academy of Television and the Arts and told them this was coming and this was what they should start to think about as a business model, and they laughed him out of the room. So, am
There
I
you go.
surprised by it? No. Once people started cutting the cord, I cut the cord in 2012. You kind of knew that somewhere the cable companies would have to make up the difference, whether they were going to kill you with bandwidth or they figured out finally, why don't we niche program and charge people to watch that niche program? So now you have to buy a streaming service to watch one or two things.
Right.
You got to pay $5 for CBS to watch Star Trek. You got to pay $7 to Disney to watch The Mandalorian. You got to pay $10 to Netflix to watch this and that. It's
Which just
currently the wild, wild west.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. Just it completely blows my mind to how people were cutting the cord to save money, and now it just as an outsider looking in, it looks like it's costing a hell of a lot more money to keep up with pop culture on streaming, because it all adds up. It doesn't look like it because it's such it's only $3.99 for this and $5.99 for that, but it's all going to add up. You're probably spending more money now than you were if you had basic cable.
With so many channels, I feel like I'm the lowest common denominator here, and I feel like some of the people who might be listening might not understand that what we're talking about is the idea of being able to watch your favorite flavor of television or programming without commercial interruption.
On demand.
On demand, when you want it, stop and go, remember your settings, blah, 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 versus you talked about cutting the cord. You talked about the cable cord, I assume.
Yeah.
Like that we pay gazillions of dollars because we want it. We want. And I like streaming. I like the idea of being able to watch what I want when I watch. But I do like to watch it on a television. And I do like to turn on Food Network, and just have that playing in the background in my bedroom sometimes. So it is really hard.
You cook in your bedroom?
No, I just have it on without the volume. But
Cream fraiche.
yeah. Cream fraiche.
It's a South Park reference.
Oh, cream fraiche. That would be creme fraiche. He's a killer. No, but you're right. It is expensive. I mean, first you were like, hey, should I stream Netflix and then just watch everything I want there? But now there's like 97 different things. It gets expensive.
Yeah, they'll nickel and dime the crap out of you, and you're going to have to end up doing what I did when I cut the cord, was do a cost analysis. I'm paying this much for DirecTV at the time, and how much can I get,
Streaming,
and I found out that, like, I could save about 75% of the money and get about 85% of the programming by doing that. So that's what I did. But now it's starting to flip the other way. I'm not going to pay for all these streaming services. It's just insane. And then what happens when the internet goes down?
right?
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, nobody
That's the
has
worst thing in the world.
yeah, nobody has physical media anymore. Whereas myself.
Speak
and-
for yourself.
Well, all of us at least, but a lot of the listening audience probably doesn't have physical media anymore. But when the internet goes out, you can just go to your shelf. Hey, I want to watch Godzilla. There it is. Right where I left it.
I don't care about all y'all, but when the internet goes down, I wonder how am I going to surf the web for porn? I don't have any of that shit on my shelf, motherfucker.
Got to put it on your phone, man.
Oh, that's a good idea. You're right. I got my data plan.
Well, this actually dovetails nicely into this new agreement that Universal and Warner Brothers came to about 2 weeks ago, where they're going to use both studios to create Blu-ray and 4K Blu-ray for both studios' titles going forward. They're going to share resources to keep the cost down.
Right.
And that is going to allow the deal with the Blu-ray consortium to go through 2031.
Oh, wow.
So physical media is going nowhere for a decade, and I, for one, am very happy about that.
And plus, I know that Sony's next PlayStation is going to support the 4K, and that's not even coming out until towards the end of the year. So, that was also a big deal as well when it comes to physical media.
So, we're Jurassics here.
And that's fine.
I will continue to buy my favorite movies on Blu-ray until they stop making them.
Yeah.
I just listened to a CD on the way over here, even though I've got, Sirius XM satellite radio and 79 channels of that and whatever.
Right.
I wanted to listen. I saw a CD and I wanted to listen to it. So
Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, even that, and Angelo is always making this argument, is that, you're getting an uncompressed, version of the music on there. It's got much more dynamic range than whatever you've got your MP4s on your iPod.
Right.
But the convenience of having everything you own in your pocket, when you're on the go is nice too. It's always that you got to find that balance.
The balance is perfect. Yeah.
Right. So let's say this. I'm home, right? I'm 300 pounds of man love. For those of you that don't know, I'm home. I'm cooking dinner. I'm going to have a lady visitor, which may once in a while it happens. It does happen. Don't look at me in that tone of voice, Angelo. It happens. So I want really high quality. I got the garlic. I got the sauce going. I want to have nice music, so I put on the album or the CD, and I got that rich, smooth sexiness, and it just feels really good.
Why did I not bring the video camera?
You don't want to put a crappy iPod to play that shit. You want it to be nice.
No, I use my iPod at the gym, because I just put it in my pocket and I can listen to whatever I want. But you can really hear the digital compression.
Yeah.
With a good set of earbuds or whatever, it's
live singing to albums, to records and albums, which had so much kind of richness to
depth,
it because of all the sound. Even though then CDs, which were sterile and clean. Remember how CDs sounded when they first came out?
Yeah.
And now digital music.
Yeah. I think that's why Apple gives you the worst possible pair of earbuds on the planet, because they don't want you to hear how compressed audio is.
Well, this also goes back to having physical media, is that and streaming in general, that if all of a sudden Apple or Disney or whatever decides that, hey, they're not going to carry this album or this movie, you can't listen to it anymore. Whereas if you have it on your shelf or on your iPod, or you have it somewhere else, you can listen to Barry White whenever you want there, Alan.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's the changes in the music industry is definitely a topic we need to cover down the road, and I know Paul has a lot to say about that.
Absolutely.
But you're right. I mean, Disney already, they acquired Fox, and they're taking a lot of the legacy Fox
if you like
productions.
Home Alone, tough.
They're putting them on in a vault. We're talking 20th Century Fox movies that go back to the beginning of the studio.
Yeah.
They're just going to bury them. And that's criminal.
And that's just I say that's just more of an argument for why physical media shouldn't go away, is because I just said Home Alone. I'm not a gargantuan fan of that movie, but there are people who are, and if you want to watch it on Disney Plus, you're out of luck.
Yeah.
If you don't own it, you don't get to see it whenever you want.
But is that how it's going to work with Disney Plus? Because have they added anything from 20th Century Fox onto their platform, or is it
just the Star Wars and the more recent, the stuff that'll earn them money back?
Yeah.
The stuff that's profitable, but they're going to bury anything that's probably pre-1975, if not more recent than that.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, Home Alone.
I feel like we're it sounds like we're being really negative. I mean,
we are.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
When you put it all together, because I'll speak for myself, I really want to watch everything. I really want to have access to everything. That I'm that kind of a person. I've never been good at saving and doing this sort of thing. So I want to have Disney Plus. When I found out that my 2015 Samsung TV wouldn't allow you to download the app of Disney Plus, I had to get a Roku. So now I had to spend more money in order to spend more money to watch Disney Plus.
There you go.
Actually, I had one, but for all of you that have a Samsung TV 2015 or before, you're going to have to do that. Shit.
Keeping up with the Joneses, man.
Yeah.
Here's
but I'm sorry,
No, go
Angelo.
ahead.
What I was trying to say is, though, that I think it's like when you go to the restaurant. You pick what you want, you know. And sometimes people go to the restaurant and they pick the same thing over and over again. If they go to a fancy restaurant or they go to, you know, the diner down the street.
You've eaten out with my mom.
No, they pick this. I'll have the meatloaf. I'll have a burger. It's like, why did we come to the restaurant to have a burger? But I like to try different things, but everyone is different. And so maybe not everybody has a million different streaming choices. Maybe they've only picked one or two. And that's cool. That's what the whole point is. And I think the idea is, do you get rid of your cable television, your live quote unquote broadcast channels, and do something else? But I
Well,
like
you know,
choice.
go
Sorry,
ahead.
Angelo.
Oh, that's okay. Here's a question for you, Paul. Do you?
I'm Alex.
I'm sorry. You're right.
Today he'll
Do
be playing.
you
Paul.
subscribe to Netflix?
But today I'm back. Yes, I do. I subscribe
Okay.
to Netflix.
Do you subscribe to their Netflix DVD service?
No, I never did.
Why is that?
Well, I never did because I couldn't afford it.
Okay. Well, how much is it a month? Because I'm not entirely sure.
The DVD service?
Yes.
I don't even know. I didn't even know they still had it.
Well, you said a minute ago that you wanted to watch everything, right? So Netflix.
I do now. I do now that I can afford it.
Netflix, their streaming platform has about 6,000 to 10,000, I think, titles,
Yeah.
and their DVD service has over 100,000.
Right.
So, you know, that's my.
Yes. Well, I'll give you a little insight. I would always hear people doing the Netflix DVD when it first came out.
Right.
And I had so much respect for them. Not only could I not really afford it, but I also I had to work a lot at nighttime, and I didn't have a lot of downtime. And I knew that I wouldn't be able to, I'm one of those people, you know, get something in the mail, you got to return it. I knew I'm not good at that sort of thing because it's just me, and I don't have a fallback. No, I'm serious.
But this prepaid postage, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I didn't even know that.
You learn something new every day, man.
What I'm trying to say, the more you know. What I'm trying to say is, one time I couldn't afford cable for like a year. I couldn't afford cable, so I had nothing, and I had my DVDs. But despite the fact that I had not a million DVDs, but I had 30 or 40. All I would watch every day was The Hunt for Red October.
Okay.
Every day I would watch The Hunt for Red October. I know that movie inside and out, and I'll tell you a funny story.
It's a very good movie. Yeah.
Things in here don't react well to
But
bullets.
it's a good point. Why not get the physical media? Why do the streaming?
You know, to your point, you said a minute ago that you want to watch everything, and to their service, they have over 100,000 titles that are available on DVD, Blu-ray, whatever, and their streaming only has like less than 10,000. So,
Right. 2 words: convenience.
well,
Oh, that's
it
what
is convenience, though, isn't it? Though they send
Yeah.
it to your house, and then and like Keith said, this prepaid postage, you just put it back in the mailbox, and off it goes.
Yes, but I think even more convenience is not even having to worry about that. It's just flipping your remote.
You're just being lazy now.
Well,
Well,
I think it also might go back to the instant gratification that everybody has. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I want to watch The Hunt for Red October right now.
Right now.
Right.
But I don't want to wait a week for it to show up in the mail because then I might not care.
You want to watch it, right? You know, you have to be in a. You ever get that? You get that certain mood. You just want to watch You're just driving home, and you're like, when I get home, I gotta watch American Graffiti. You know, it's just.
No, I kind of feel that way about Riley Reid, but other than that, it's,
Yeah, but doesn't Netflix take their programming
Keith?
off every couple of months or so?
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
So-
no.
Well, they have agreements with the studios that over time expire.
Expire.
And either they renew it or they just let it lapse.
It is
Sometimes they go
longer.
back like
Okay.
a year
a lot
later.
longer than
Oh,
that.
I'm not
Stuff
entirely
has
sure,
disappeared
so-
and it will come back even.
Right.
I don't understand really how it works. I just know that
Like
this
the-
is going away on this date.
The Star Treks have been on there for
Ever.
forever.
Okay.
I could watch those every day.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And you do. I used to do the DVD when it first came out, and I thought it was pretty cool. And then when they started streaming, this is actually a strange story. Back in 2010, my girlfriend at the time got Wired magazine, and she said, you should read this. So I took it to the library at her house to read it.
Wired?
The office, where you
yeah.
do your paperwork. And I read about Reed Hastings. And at the time, Netflix was just putting out these really like independent horror movies and low budget stuff on the streaming service, kind of as a test.
Sure.
But I saw he was talking about where it could go. And again, kind of being laughed out of the room. And I remember I walked up to her. I was putting on a trade show at the time here in Connecticut called Production Con. And I said, we should try to get this guy as a keynote speaker because I think he's onto something here. This is going to be huge. And look what it did. And I kind of feel bad for Netflix because they've had to reinvent their business model now. And they're sinking billions into original programming because all these boutique streaming services have stripped their IP away. And, you know, he had the guts to try it. He had the courage and the business acumen to make it work, to stick it out and stand there and proved that it would work. And then everybody said, hey, let's do our own and take our crap back from him. So, you know, put him in a pickle. And I feel bad. But you know what? After looking at Disney Plus, he's got nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Thank God it's free with Verizon. If you're a Verizon wireless customer, you get a year of it for free. So I got like 8 months left.
I subscribed, or I got the free year preview. I haven't turned it on yet.
Yeah, it's. I watched The Black Hole the first day.
Well, that's a good choice.
Well,
That's good.
let me rephrase that. I watched part of The Black Hole. It took about 6 viewings to get through the whole movie. It's terrible.
It's an acquired taste.
Ooh,
but
it's bad.
the ending,
That's a
though,
fun movie.
the ending's I think is right up there with 2001. It is just weird.
I like when Anthony Perkins gets shredded up by the robot. Maximilian.
In a PG Disney movie, Anthony
Yeah.
Perkins dies on camera.
Well, you know what? I love Disney. We're all about kids, and I'm watching The Mandalorian. It's so freaking violent. Well, we got about 3 minutes left of this segment.
All right, here I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this your?
This is my little trivia question.
Woo, I love
it's
trivia.
not. I wish it was mine, but it isn't. Maybe you guys know
It's all
this
right,
already,
it's all
but
Do we have to hold
oh,
the answer to the end if we know it?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. So a week or so ago, in this very room.
Oh, I know it.
Some mutual friends of ours. One of them posed a question to us and asked specifically in the 1980s, which particular year in the 1980s you saw from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. I'm not going to say the best movies, but you're like, wow, that many movies came out in that particular year.
Oh, for me, I can answer that right now.
Okay.
1982.
He's right. 1982.
Yeah.
And
You
I
had-
saw the list. I was just like, I was floored.
Poltergeist, Star Trek II,
The
E.T., The Thing.
E.T..
Diner.
Yeah, Diner, good one.
Tootsie.
Tootsie.
Stallone had 3 movies out that year. He had First Blood, Rocky 3,
Yep.
and he had Night Wings.
Wow, Night
Raiders
Wings.
was 83.
81.
It was the year before, but the thing is that the year of that year was just like, you're looking at the list like, I can't believe Night Shift came out that year. Sophie's Choice. It's just top to bottom that year was just, I can't believe the amount of films that came out that year.
was
Just so,
we
amazing.
went going back to the beginning of our conversation, Pete, when we were talking about 1975 maybe being this watermark for when pop culture kind of exploded. For me personally, as a young tween,
As a youth?
1982 was the year it did that
And
for
the Wrath
me.
of Khan. We didn't even say that, but yeah.
I agree. When you asked the question, I immediately thought of 82.
You see? All right, so you guys were on the mark.
E.T. is my favorite movie, and
And E.T. came out.
A lot of those, my favorite movie of all time. I just love that movie, and I mean, that was the year I can remember going and seeing a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Dark Crystal came out that year. It's just like,
Oh my
you know,
God.
And I
Right.
think for us, we were getting to an age where we weren't little kids anymore, and we appreciated cinema a little bit more.
Yeah.
Granted, we loved Star Wars, we loved Empire, we loved Raiders. Raiders is still my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah.
But 1982 is that banner year for me.
So here's some of the movies on the list: The Thing, Poltergeist, Blade Runner, E.T.,
Blade Runner.
Tron, Gandhi,
Love Tron.
The Wrath of Khan, Rocky 3, Tootsie, Cat People, The World According to Garp, Conan the Barbarian, The Dark Crystal, The Verdict with Paul Newman, 48 Hours, Annie, One of the Friday the 13th films, First Blood, Fast Times at Ridgemont High,
Fast Times.
Creep Show, Fitzcarraldo,
Love Creep Show, dude.
An Officer and a Gentleman, Victor
Wow.
Victoria, Sophie's Choice, The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. Let's see here, A Secret of Nim, the second airplane film, The Beastmaster, Forbidden World, Death Trap, Fanny and Alexander. I mean, Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. It's just
Were there any
82
Star Trek movies?
The Wrath of Khan.
Wrath of Khan.
Yeah. So that year is just,
And-
my favorite year is another film that was, that's just Warner Brothers
How
classics.
how
just
appropriately titled. So,
Right.
And Three's Company was still on TV. So our time's up for segment 1. Let's come back with a new topic right after this. We're And we're back, segment 2 of our first show. I'm kind of excited. The East Side's starting to heat up here. We got some customers coming in. The phone's ringing.
Keith, I have to say,
The noise that sounds like we're in a droid factory is actually the soda cooler. Over
Roger,
here.
Roger.
Yes,
I
Alan.
love East Side Pizza.
We all do. It's the cheers of pizza.
Angelo and his brother George in Wallingford. What's the address here?
It's 823 Center Street, I believe.
East Center Street?
It's East Center Street. The
East-
number's 8 something.
Oh, it's the pizza is fantastic. I mean, I've had pizza, all over the place.
The sauce is boss.
Just to remind you, I'm
The sauce
300
is
pounds
boss.
of man love. Yes, sauce is boss. I like that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have some great ideas. Great pizza, great food here, and
But
great conversation. with
That's
you guys.
that's what I was going to say. The best part is every time we come in here, it is my ex-girlfriend used to call this a cheers of pizza, because customers will start engaging with Angelo and George, and then like other customers will jump in, and that's kind of what inspired this, because we're always talking about stuff like this when we come in here for hours.
Right.
Hours.
It's a really great place. If
It
you're
is.
hungry, come to East Side Pizza.
So we have,
And if you want to talk as well.
and that mystery voice is none other than Paul Q. Heriot.
It's me. How are you folks in
He's
Wallingford
another one
and
of our
elsewhere?
nomadic hosts of this show.
And a talented
Oh,
man.
there it is. I am talented.
Despite what other people say.
This is true.
You put a mic in front of somebody here, and they all sound like they're on NPR. Hello there, my name is Paul.
I am Paul. Instead of screaming, hello, it's me.
Be yourself.
I'm going to get laid because of this now. Thank you.
That's what I keep hoping for.
Woo! Come on, I'll meet you in the bathroom. Let's go.
All right. Well, moving right along.
We won't fit both of us in the bathroom. Paul.
I don't think I'll fit in by myself.
Well, you're on a diet.
That's what we like about pizza.
So for segment 2, Pedro came up with a pretty interesting concept.
It's not necessarily a current event type of title, but it's one of these things that seems to pop back up in the news every couple of months. Disney owns absolutely everything.
Almost. Yeah.
Almost everything, and it just seems like every couple of months their little mousy grip just seems to go off and grab something else.
Mousy grip.
So I was thinking
They're leaving their little mouse poop everywhere.
you have pros, cons, thoughts on that. Like what?
Do they own Star Trek?
Not
They
yet.
do not. But rumor is, and
Seth MacFarlane.
Seth MacFarlane, yeah. There's rumor that he is, and there's rumor that he isn't. And Seth MacFarlane is looking at buying Star Trek,
And then moving it to NBC.
That
where it began.
Yeah.
NBC was Desilu.
Well,
thought-
Desilu Studios is what they produced it through
Yeah,
Desilu
But I
Studios.
thought they were CBS. Sorry.
Well, CBS bought.
C-
CBS owns the property now through Viacom. It's a mess because they had a split with Paramount, and then that's why you ended up with these Jar Jar Abrams knockoff movies for an alternate universe, because the deal with CBS, like if Paramount wanted to make a Star Trek movie, they had to pay CBS for it, and then they were only allowed to use the licenses if they altered it by 25%. So it just became a regal mess. But now they're back together again. So, and hopefully fixing Star Trek. And it looks like with Picard, they're kind of fixing Star Trek. But we'll get into that another time. We're back to Disney.
Yeah, and so what is obviously what are the feelings about Disney owning everything? We looked at an infographic, which I think we're going to wind up posting.
Yeah, I think we should post it.
Yeah, it's this nightmare of just what does Disney own. I mean, it doesn't go it goes further than like ESPN and ABC. It goes.
They have GoPro. They own
GoPro.
Yeah.
That I didn't know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that either.
Yeah. Oh, they bought GoPro years ago. Yeah.
But I've been to Disney World. It is the most magical place on earth.
But it's not the happiest. You should talk to the employees.
I don't care about the employees.
That's the spirit.
I want to go to. I mean, I like Disney. I have always loved Disney. Disney movies make me feel really good. The original Disney movies, I agree. I signed up for Disney
Come on, you're not
Plus.
watching Gus the field goal kicking mule, are you?
No, I haven't watched anything except The Mandalorian. I haven't watched anything because I can't watch those movies because
They're awful.
Well, some of them are awful, but I'm talking about like some of the classic movies. You know,
Apple Dumpling Gang?
No, Pinocchio and
Oh, I
Cinderella and Snow White. I mean, those animated things are just, they're brilliant works of art. But they do own everything, and it's getting a little crazy.
And you were talking about like these real old nostalgic classics.
Yes.
Are they still writing the goodwill of the nostalgia? Like, oh, it's okay, Disney owns it. Like in the case of Marvel, they've managed to basically knock it out of the park almost every time. You know, I mean, that's very subjective, obviously, but their movies make over $1 billion every single time. So clearly they're doing something right. Whereas with Star Wars, they're just crashing into the ground on every single time.
Right.
Oh, I think that's a lot of that's based on the creative teams put in place. I mean, Kevin Feige clearly had a vision for the Marvel movies.
Yes, this is true.
Yeah, it probably maybe as early as Iron Man 1, but I think more after it was over, kind of. But the bottom line is it was well thought out. It was well planned. Every single movie dovetails into the other to tell this giant epic tale, this Thanos thing.
And Disney's
Star Wars with Kathleen Kennedy clearly didn't do any of this planning.
no.
I mean, it's unbelievable how those three movies really just fight against each other. They work against each other. Nothing makes sense. Nothing. And this last one was. That's
Don't
another.
get him started.
It's another topic for another time.
Or this time, since we're talking about this.
But I mean, like,
Well, we're talking about Disney, and you know, this is Exhibit A to me of the antitrust thing,
I was
the
just
corporate
gonna bring that
antitrust. Yeah, well, go ahead.
well, I was going to bring it up so that somebody could talk about it. But,
Yeah.
but yeah, we were talking off mic about what was it? The theory is that Bill Clinton
Bill Clinton.
got rid of the antitrust laws, which would have taken care of
Monopolies,
Disney
yeah.
owning everything like this. And
And
it's
since then, you see these giant corporate mergers and buyouts, and that are taking place in every industry. And you've got how many corporate media conglomerates that own everything? You got Clear Channel dominates radio.
yeah.
You've got Disney and Comcast dominating, the TV and film, and this shouldn't be. This shouldn't be.
What makes it great, what inspires creativity is many voices. The diversity of talent, the diversity of culture, the diversity of art. That's kind of like the whole thing we were talking about a little while ago with regard to streaming media. You choose what you like. But when and we think of it as a company, we think about all the people that are involved, but it's still, in a corporation, there's always that top guy that says, this is my vision, and this is where we want to see, and this is what we like, and forget about good quality writing sometimes because we want to get through it because we need to push it out to market to make money.
It's called show business for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not called show fun. Is Bob Iger the Antichrist? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that. I don't know who these people are, and I don't know half of what you guys, you and Pete know about this kind of stuff. But I agree with the concept that we all, Netflix has opened up the world to people, to finding little programming. Think about all the programming that's not real expensive to make, but that's so great. Your Stranger Things, a whole lot of the new programming that's coming out from all over the world. Have you seen some of the foreign produced films on Netflix? There's a lot of good stuff out there. But, Disney, you have Aladdin. That's a team. That's a creative team. You have The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, all that stuff. Those musicals, those are great
Now,
productions.
yeah, but now Disney's in this mode of remaking their cartoon classics as live action.
They just announced Bambi.
Their Mulan's coming out. Like,
Well,
I saw the trailer for that, and I'm like, what kind of crap is this? And then it said Mulan. I said, yep.
They better have
exactly.
the dipping
What
sauce.
kind of crap is this?
Talking to you, McDonald. Morty.
I don't know. I
know,
know you feel strongly about remakes, Paul.
I hate them. Yes.
You don't like it. And I think
Brainless.
you should
Anybody
talk
who
to-
listens, brainless.
Tell us how you really feel.
They're just bad. It shows an industry that can't think anymore
And create.
and create.
well, what it's about is brand recognition. You
Yeah.
know, it's instant hit if people go, I know that. You don't have to introduce them to something new. You put out Fantasy Island, the movie. People go, oh, Fantasy Island. I watched that. And they go to the movie.
But Keith.
I want
or
the Love Boat.
There's people, right. And there's
Das
people
Laufboot.
There's people who did not watch the Fantasy Island. There's people who have never seen Bambi as a cartoon.
No, but it's a quick way to guarantee a certain amount of profit right away with brand recognition, title recognition.
Business.
And you know what the first one to do that was? Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Star Trek the Motion Picture.
I knew to blame those pieces of shit.
Damn it. Gene, you made a theatrical remake of existing property. Damn it, Gene.
The big problem with this kind of the corporate thing and where these big major players hold all the cards is they own the content creation, they own the content distribution. So basically they're saying we're going to make this show, we're going to distribute it somewhere, and then you're going to pay us to watch it. So they control it through the entire pipeline.
Yeah, but guys, don't you think that somebody along the way is thinking, if we do this, first of all, it's technologically, it's an advancement. Don't you think that it's, something that needs to be I have to take a moment because Keith is checking his laptop and he's got to stick his face right
It went
in
to
the middle of the
sleep. There it
screen
is.
Yeah,
The
so
timer.
So that it
Our-
can facial recognize.
Our timer went to sleep, and he's just
He
lurching
gets up.
himself over the table
Right.
so his computer can see his face.
It's a visual. But don't you think, aside from the technological prowess, the advancements that can be made
Go ahead.
from doing, I saw the Lion King remake live action. It was beautifully done. It was nice. It wasn't that original of a
But
story.
you got to go see. You're watching a movie that's already been made.
I know, but listen, what my point is that aside from that, there are people who don't want to watch the cartoon lion version. They've never seen it. They're trying to engage new audiences, and new audiences may not want that kind of
To
animation.
me, that's lazy.
This is the same.
Why can't they just make a new movie with using
Thank you.
CGI
Well, they should-
jungle animals
they
and
should
call
do
it
that-
something else?
They should do that as well.
It's just
but
lazy.
there's-
Oh, here's
there's a
Aladdin.
big-
Here's
there's
Mulan.
a big
Here's-
risk there. Is like, will the audience go and see it if it's something brand new?
No,
That's why we're not
no.
seeing new slasher movies. We're seeing remakes of Friday the 13th. We're seeing remakes.
Oh, they're all the
Right,
same
right,
anyway.
right.
You want to see your hero. We do like our heroes.
Yeah.
And sometimes heroes are the bad guys. Freddy Krueger,
Darth Vader.
Darth Vader. Well,
Trump.
Yeah, Trump.
You want to see it
This is
again?
our first customer of the day here. Getting his,
There you
getting a
go.
cola
Our
beverage.
first catch of the day.
Getting a beverage here at Eastside Pizza.
That's right.
Eastside Pizza, where the food is really good.
But
I know
yeah,
what I'm having for lunch.
if audiences were, dare I say, smart enough to actually want original content, then I think we'd be getting more of it. But audiences are basically the lowest common denominator. God, we're going to get hate mail for this.
Yeah. Well,
No, go on.
But audiences, for the most part, are the lowest common denominator. So they want to see things that they recognize. They want to see the same but different.
Right.
But only to a point. Like The Last Jedi being a great example of that was really different from all the other Star Wars movies, and boy, did people hate that.
right.
But
Right.
go ahead, Keith. I just go ahead.
Well, I was just going to quickly pile on to say you're absolutely right because each Fast and the Furious sequel makes more money than the previous one, and they're up to like number 9.
Right. And while they make money for the company, all of the people that worked on those projects, that believed in what they do in their craft, that bust their ass, for someone else. They get paid along the way.
Well, yeah. Well, this has
there
nothing
are
to do with the
jobs.
people who work hard on these projects. They work their butts off. You know, you could look at an abortion like Batman versus Superman and hate it, but at the same time, people work really hard on that. And it's not a knock on anyone who works on the movies,
Oh,
except
absolutely not.
the studio and the creative people who conceptualized it to begin with. Or maybe the lazy writers who, oh boy, that new Star Wars, talk about lazy writing.
And you brought up Batman versus Superman because he
The
actually
same
wrote
guy.
it. Same
You're right.
guy.
Same guy.
We want to know how people feel about this. So we have a Facebook presence and we have a Twitter presence. You know, Pizza and Pop Culture. Just do a search on Facebook for Pizza and Pop Culture, and on Twitter for.
Eventually,
Pizza and
we'll
Pop.
put a website up.
And,
This is new.
Give us your feedback and your thoughts on these topics, because if you have a unique point of view, we'll probably read it and just throw it away. No, I'm just kidding. Read it and talk about
Delete.
it.
I love it. Dumbing down society. Remakes.
Remakes, reality shows.
There it is.
It's funny also that the two poster children for remakes. This almost goes back to what we were talking about in the last segment. The two poster children for remakes are The Fly and The Thing,
Yeah.
which came out in 1982 and 1986, and there hasn't been a remake that has out. True Grit.
True Grit.
True Grit.
Good example.
There's one.
Yep.
Have not had a remake.
The Magnificent Seven.
No. One's where the remakes have outshone the original.
Right.
Yeah.
They were
The Fly,
they were actually,
right.
in my opinion, better. And
Yeah.
I'd put the new Magnificent Seven in there
Sure.
too. Or the
Yeah.
the original Italian Job's better, but you're right. You're right.
It's
How do you feel, Paul? How do you feel about building around a franchise?
Yeah.
So-
Close out the segment, Paul.
So we have
Building out around.
Like, so we have a Star Trek movie,
Right.
and then they did some prequels. The young actors coming up. What do you
Right.
think about those?
Garbage. Thank you very much.
Oh, come on! You didn't
Sorry.
you didn't like those characters?
I thought the
No,
casting was well done, but the movies themselves were
Oh
terrible.
yeah,
they were
it's-
terrible.
oh my God, the one where Spock was running through San Francisco.
And beating Khan in the face.
Oh my God, I was like sitting in the audience, and I won't say who was saying "shut up," but
Who was it?
it was Angelo. I was going, "This is garbage." He's running through San Francisco. Look at him, he's on top of the guy.
Spock's temper tantrum.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
right.
just not even. It was just horrible. It's horrible. I'm sorry. If there's screenwriters out there, please get to Hollywood. Shut up. Is that what it says?
It says
Oh, no.
time's up.
Time's up. I couldn't see
Yes,
those
we've-
times.
Barely spoke.
Yeah, you barely spoke. So we're going to have to shut it down for a quick break, and then we'll be back with our final segment.
It was the three-legged dog of comics.
It was bad.
These two gentlemen met in jail, and then when they got out, they started publishing.
It should have been mobsters instead of doing what they're doing in comics.
Management there was questionable at times.
Some of it has to do with people who go to jail.
We are sinners, we have corrupted the youth.
Stuff that should never have been sold to kids.
And then there was Charlton. I couldn't quite tell what they were doing.
Charlton was just a hodgepodge of weird titles.
What is this? Who am I dealing with?
John threw nickels around like they were manhole covers.
CATAP. They were cheap.
Hell yes, they're cheap.
They were a special kind of special, is what they were.
Critic was horrible.
You could smell them beginning to decay even as they were rolling off the press.
At one point, they actually did have to move the comics operation into a bowling alley.
It's something out of a sitcom.
We want to publish comic books in the worst way, and they did.
It's been called the street fighting cousin of Marvel and DC. Maybe you've heard of them. Probably not. But you do know the industry legends that called it home. This is Charlton Comics. Follow at charltonmovie.com.
Oh, it's gonna suck.
And we're back. We're going to finish up our first episode with our last segment here. And Paul, you had to say
I
something.
had
right?
to say something about the Disney that a few days ago was Dean Jones's birthday. So anybody out there remembering Dean Jones, one of our most beloved Disney actors,
He was in Flubber, wasn't he?
He was in Flubber. But don't forget, also Fred McMurray was the first Flubber.
I'm trying to remember. I don't know.
Flubber, you know, son of Flubber.
Dean Jones?
No. Dean Jones.
So our new mystery voice is the lovely and talented George Alexopoulos.
It's great to be here.
George, welcome to the first show. We got everybody in.
I hope I can contribute.
We got everybody in here. So we're gonna do a final segment on the music industry. We're gonna kind of do a quick little overview of that, and then Alan wants to brain tease us.
Yeah, I got a couple of. Here's a picture I'm showing George of Dean Jones.
Dean Jones.
You recognize him?
He was in the car with
He looks a lot like Fred McMurray.
Shitty Bang Bang?
No, the movie, the car.
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
My Mother the Car.
With what's her name?
Herbie
Annette
the Love Bug?
Herbie
what's
the
her
Love
name?
Bug.
Annette Funicello?
Yeah, wasn't he in a movie with her?
Oh, Annette Funicello.
Yeah, me too. Hold
Wait,
it, folks. I got to adjust my seat.
She's very attractive.
Okay, I got a couple trivia questions for all you bitches out there. If you know the answer, write it on the Facebook page. Of course, we're going to talk about it in 2.9 seconds, but, pizza and pop culture on Facebook, the podcast, and on Twitter.
So, Alan, we can't answer this. It has to be the people
you
from...
can answer it. I'm just screwing around.
Oh, all right.
Eventually, we'll develop a question which we'll put out that'll be really important.
Well, we could post it before we record, and then.
Oh, all right.
Okay, so here's my question. Who won the 2016 Best Actor Oscar?
That was 3 years ago. That's too far.
No, I know that one. Carrot Top.
No.
Shit.
I cooked for Carrot Top. He didn't win.
Oh, he didn't? Oh, man. All right.
Jerry Lewis.
Yeah. Jerry Lewis won. Yeah.
2000,
wait, what movies came out in 2016?
2016.
All that the last 5 years have been one big year.
I'll give you a clue. I'm the king of the world.
Leo
DiCaprio?
For Revenant?
For Revenant.
That's right. What a great movie, folks.
That was already 4 years ago.
That was already 4 years ago.
Oh my God.
Okay, now we're on to music. Ready?
Ready.
This is the one we should. Go ahead. I'm not looking.
Which member of the boy band One Direction left the band in March 2015?
Who cares?
And he went in a new direction, huh?
Harry Styles. What's that his name?
No.
Harry Reams?
No. He left the band because he had some, boobery going on.
I forgot his name.
Justice Beaver.
Zayn Malik.
Why do you ask questions
why would,
that's not music.
That's a good segue into what's wrong with the music industry.
No, here you go. Let's see. Who topped the Billboard charts with the single Love Yourself in February 2016?
Justin Bieber.
Correct.
Why do you know that?
He likes for a pizza parlor. There's pop music playing all the time, right? That's like when I worked at the restaurant. In the back, they would always have this music mix that played over and over, and it was a pop music blend. And the one song that always played all the time when we were prepping in the morning, Bop.
Oh.
From the Hansons.
Bop.
I'm so sorry.
Oh my God.
So Paul, I think you should talk about your love of music. Can you sing something for us, Paul?
I could sing something for you right now there, Alan.
Sing it.
You want me to love me do? How's that? I'll stand on the table. Give you a little bit of myself to you.
Pete, I mean...
No, don't we you know what? If I was to start singing, then all of a sudden what would come down,
There'd be groupies everywhere.
Groupies.
No, seriously, aside from a tremendous visual artist, you are also a band member.
I am a band member of the Presidential Targets here in Wallingford, Connecticut. Songwriter, gifted roadie. I could lift up an
amp. Let's not get
amp.
carried away. I'm just asking, can you just sing something for fuck's sake?
Loving you is easy.
You didn't write that, did you?
We're not going to go that bad. People will be turning us off.
If they haven't already.
What about the puppet in the popcorn?
Woo! But we can't sing it in this. There are children right
There's
there.
no children here.
There's a child sitting there. Are you with it?
Oh.
Actually,
he's crying.
Here's a little known fact. If you do come into this establishment, right inside the front door, if you walk in right to your left, is a framed Presidential Targets Songs from the Shower debut LP album, circa 1988, framed on the wall.
Right next to Elvis Costello's and the Beatles.
Where it belongs. Yes, the Droid Factory's back.
Yeah.
So,
This is the pizza parlor,
Paul,
folks.
in our final 15 minutes, why don't you give us an opening statement on this, on the current status of the music industry?
Well, if I had to put it in one word, no, a lot of words, just one. It's crap. It's all money. You know, money ruins everything, and that's it. And George, I'm sure even though there's some fine music coming out, but you have to dig for it now. You have to really go under for it.
Every decade has awful music too. From the 70s, the 60s, 80s. There's just
You're
as
telling
much,
me, yeah.
There's just as much bad music as there's,
But this idea that, you know, rock and roll is dead. I mean, if you look at rock and roll and you look at the bands touring, they're bands that have been around for 40 plus years. Kiss, Aerosmith, Ozzy Osbourne. Like, you know, there's nothing really new. To me, Dave Grohl is the last rock star. And when the Foo Fighters are gone, it's freaking over, man.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some good young bands. You got that, Greta Van Fleet. But they're not getting the backing from the the record companies that the bands used to get.
Would you guys consider Imagine Dragons a rock band?
No.
yeah, I mean,
They-
more
there
so
was-
than other bands, I
yeah,
guess.
maybe.
For new stuff. I mean,
They're better than Coldplay.
Yeah, and Metallica's still out there.
maybe just because kids.
But again, they've been around since the early 80s.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Maybe just because kids don't want that music, you know?
Well, I think, I found this interesting video on YouTube by Rick Beato, and it's, Rest in Peace Rock Music. And it's a 1996. And they go, it's great because he has, he's, in his late 50s, and then he has a guy in his 40s, and then he has a millennial, late 20s. So it's a diverse cross-section of opinion, but they're all on the same page. And they say it's the idea that the blues has been stripped from modern pop music, and the blues was the foundation of everything rock and roll was about. And now you get these record companies that go for the quick buck, these one-hit wonders. They work, he goes, they work really hard on like 4 bars of music and then rinse and repeat. And that's your song. And the song structure's gone out the window. And you listen to some of this stuff when I'm at my gym, and it doesn't even sound like a song. It's just noisy, electronic, auto-tuned garbage.
Well, I mean, okay, the gym plays a lot of music that they think pumps everybody up, right?
Yeah.
No, they play the songs they like because the kids working there are like 17.
Well, that's true, too. That's true everywhere, though. Paul, music, I mean, you get on the radio and you turn the channel. What do you listen to?
I don't. I got about 17 days of music on my iTunes. I listen to Paul Heriot's This Is What I Like. And granted, now, you know where I hear most of the new music? Is when I get on Facebook and go to links to the Nines or Pugwash, and then you go under XTC and you find these new bands that are coming off of that.
That are inspired by those.
That are inspired.
Right.
And so that's good. Same thing with jazz, and you'll find a link. You'll find a link there. And I want you all to look, please. Thank you.
Well, so tell us about new music. When I want to know from someone who is really much more musical than I, and someone who is really knowledgeable. What's new music to you, George? What's new music to you, Paul? What does it sound like? What does it feel like?
Go ahead, George, because that is your.
It's been a while since I got into anything really new. The new band I like is Ecstasy, and they're a 40-year-old band.
Right.
You know.
So it's new to you?
It's new to me. It is.
Okay, and are they doing new stuff? Ecstasy?
This is Alan Partridge by himself, but not as a band anymore. So find inspiration in the past.
Yeah. That's to me that's the problem.
Well,
because they're not going to be around much longer. Some of these guys.
But they're always going to.
We just
have
lost
people
Neil
who
Peart
like
2 weeks ago or whatever
We
it was,
did.
and this is going to start to. Ozzy's got Parkinson's. Like this is what's going to start to happen.
Yeah.
And there's nobody to step in and fill the void.
The new music that's the kind that I like. But like for the hard rock people, there is a legion of people that like death metal and heavy metal and all kinds of metal, and it's pretty big out there.
But it's not like
it's not on the radio.
It's not like it used to be. I mean, you go back to like Woodstock, right? Like the mainstream music was rock and roll.
Right.
Like everybody was into it, adults, women, kids. It's not like that anymore. Now it's become a niche fan base.
Right.
And when you go to these shows a lot, you see this generational gap. You see people our age, and you see little kids, and you don't see much in between, because the people our age are bringing their kids there, but the ones in between are not finding this on their own.
It's what's selling, I would say.
If you could,
You see these EDM festivals that are drawing hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah, electronic dance music.
Right, and then but you have these rock and roll bands that maybe can fill an arena.
If you had the world of music producers sitting in front of you and you had 2 minutes to give them a message, a constructive message aside from any criticism that you might have, which is always fun to hear, what would you say to them, George? What would you say to the music producers?
I have no idea. I mean, it's like the last great movement in rock was like Nirvana and grunge. What has been since then? Whether you like them or not.
Nothing.
But that was the
I
last
agree.
big thing that was popular. What has been popular?
You can
for
maybe
rock?
argue that it evolved into that rap metal kind of thing with like Limp Bizkit and all that crap in the late 90s.
True.
Which might have been actually the last trend.
Right. Yeah.
But it was not a good trend. I don't know what to say either. I wouldn't, because the music industry is a big mess. I don't even know why anybody would want to become a musician. You can't make money anymore because of the internet.
That's right. But not making money, you start by just the love of music.
Yeah.
Well,
Not
right.
so much, making the money. Shit, our band, if it was the love of money, we were broken up after our second practice. We're doing Betty Choked on the Bone. We know that's not going to sell.
No, but that's exactly what I was hoping you would say. I mean, you do it because you're good at it. You do it because you love it.
That's right.
And you hope that somebody latches on. We're in a little compartment here in this part of the world, and we don't get so much exposure. What would you say to those producers?
Well, you know what? With producers is what they would say to us. Producers have to make a living doing, making this music. And they're finding out that
Hip-hop.
rap, hip-hop,
Right.
all this stuff is. So that's where the market is. And you can't blame them for saying, hey, we got to keep our studios open.
That's right.
It's funny you say that because I was had Howard Stern on recently, and he was talking about CD sales. And a lot of the country still sells, too. Actually physically sells physical media.
I love that.
But, I mean, new country. New country, not old country.
Yeah, new country.
Yeah, new country.
Yep.
But it still sells. You're right.
Shelton,
And that could be part of the problem, too. I mean, people went on Napster years ago, and now they're just going on Spotify and whatnot, and they're just streaming this stuff.
Yeah.
They're not buying it anymore.
Yeah, but okay. So correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to throw out a couple of things here. First, rock and roll originally a movement based on anti-disestablishmentarianism, right?
Can you spell that?
No, but I can say it. And right? Am I wrong? Is that
Go ahead.
You wanted to hear this angry music, this stuff that had pissed off your parents, this other kind of thing. I wasn't part of that movement.
Rock Around the Clock started a riot
Right.
when they played that song. It started a riot.
Right.
Rock Around the Clock.
So my point is, that as you
Theme
both
from Happy Days.
As you both say, I mean, think of Elvis and his dance moves. We're like,
Oh, yeah.
Somebody one time they told me, oh, those hip thrusts were like taboo. I'm like, what the hell?
Elvis the Pelvis. Yeah.
Well, the Beatles' haircuts. They had long hair.
Right. All this stuff was a statement. Think about the original Star Trek. Okay, the original Star Trek. Those concepts that they had, they were.
I'm unfamiliar with Star Trek.
They were right. They were relevant issues that they were making a statement of. Star Trek has always kind of done that, even though the productions sometimes vary from good quality to not so good quality, but they've always tried to tackle common themes, right?
Go ahead.
Music, the same thing. Rock and roll. Do we have that? You said Nirvana. You said who else was the other band?
What did you say? You said.
Did that
Well,
make you
I
feel
went
good?
into the.
It did. I love Nirvana.
Did it strike anything other than the musical base for you?
Yes. Oh, no, there's always a rebel element to rock and roll.
Yeah.
And the rebel element is
It's always been a
financial
statement
now.
of freedom, to be yourself, to just chase your dreams,
There you go.
to not let the man keep you down. Was always, even in the shitty hair metal 80s with those crappy songs, the underlying tone was still, be yourself, have a good time, chase your dreams.
That. Now it seems like we'll go with pop music because I know there's other music out there that does this kind of stuff. But the stuff that we hear on the radio is all now about, relationships between your man and.
I think pop has always kind of been that way. If you go back to even the disco 70s, it was all about.
So where do we get the good shit?
The good, that's what we're saying. The good shit's on its way out, man.
Or underground. You have to really look.
Right, you have to really look.
Yeah.
I mean, the protests. What was that?
A lot of music just sounds the same.
Well, that's the problem.
All the girl singers, they sound the same.
Well, yeah, they're overproduced and they go on those vocal run-ons that go forever.
And they got. But they also got those tune shifters that anybody can sing.
Yeah.
Auto-tune. And I do like Post Malone. I like some of Post Malone.
Do you really?
I do too, actually.
Some of it.
You shouldn't
I'll admit I'm okay with Taylor Swift and Adele, but
yeah.
But
she needs a
for the main reason that even Lady Gaga is that at least they write their own songs, they play instruments. There's nothing that grinds my gears more than someone who's a quote-unquote musician who has corporate writers. They record everything electronic. There's no band. They auto-tune their freaking voice. It's all it's corporate produced garbage. It's bullshit, but that's what the kids want.
But the other thing is the progression. Now, you were talking about where I asked the question about where you find these people. I'm just going to give a story that I know a little bit about. Yeah. So we have Justin Bieber, right? Justin Bieber's got a bad rap. He's this bad boy, this kind of a thing.
A bad rap. Go ahead.
Justin Bieber started out as a 6-year-old on YouTube.
Right.
With his own music. He plays the guitar, he plays the drums, he sings. He's a natural talent.
Yeah. Right.
People started seeing him. And he was on YouTube for years before somebody noticed him. And it wasn't Scooter Braun initially, even though he might have been. It was Justin Timberlake and the other guy that works with Scooter Braun. He was on the black guy. I can't remember his name.
Benson?
No. Deal. Anyway, he took the property, and then look at his evolution from the teeny bopper music to what he's doing now. And where he's going now with this direction. And my point is that if you're a young talent, you see more and more of this, of talent of all ages, but especially young people on YouTube.
Well, that's a viable way to do it. And I was going to jump in and say that's actually become a legitimate.
But I'm asking Paul. I mean, and do you think? Have you done that?
No, he
when
should.
I was 4?
No. Now.
Now, do I?
Presidential targets.
We're on YouTube. Yeah, we are. If you want to,
But it's older stuff. But I see it's older. It's like old concert videos and stuff. But I see where Alan's saying if you guys got into a studio and did some controlled video,
right,
performance videos.
What I'm saying
that would probably help you more.
Well, but what I'm saying is that now you don't need to be in the right place at the right time. Now social media allows you to be in the right place for everyone because you can be in a little corner of the world as long as you have a way to get your talent up on the web.
Yeah.
But
somebody
again,
can notice you.
It looks like they're only looking for one type of music. George, your kids are in bands. Your kids are musicians.
Yeah,
what's their outlook on things?
And what are they playing right now?
My son, I think when he was young, he was really into the Beatles. He was into Led Zeppelin, like stuff that I like.
Wow, that's great.
He actually was anti-new stuff. Anytime it came on the radio, changed the channel.
Mm-hmm.
But lately, in the last year or so, he's not playing the guitar as much. He's got a keyboard, and he's listening to some other bands that I don't know of. And I'm like, let him do what he wants. That's what he likes.
Right.
Let him do it, I don't want to, be that dad.
What's your favorite 70s?
Can't listen to that crap.
You think he?
What's your favorite 70s song, George?
70s song?
Yeah.
I got a million of them.
Oh, 70s had so many great ones.
Yeah. That was the best decade for music.
Did Back in Black come on the 70s? Staying Alive? Back in Black. Bread. I love that song. I Want to Make It With You.
Wow, you're a lover, not a fighter.
Yeah.
Well, we're down to our final minute here. Any last thoughts? Because what I'd like to do actually is go around the table. This is Angelo's idea. Everyone suggest a book, movie, TV show, CD. Well, nobody buys CDs.
Read the new Edward Snowden book.
Really?
You'll open your eyes to this country.
Nice.
Edward Snowden.
Alan?
I like Stephen King. I've always liked Stephen King stuff. There's some, if you sit down to read the book or listen to the audiobook, they're really good. But I like reading the book because, have it in my own voice. If it's okay with you, I would like to plug, I have a friend that just worked on a book, and the name is escaping me.
Oops. Well,
I
maybe
like that book.
Yeah. George.
Well, I could say The Mandalorian and The Witcher, great shows, but I'll recommend The Outsider. It's a Stephen King show.
Love it.
Yeah, it's a little murder mystery. It's got a little some
Nudity?
other element to it right now. It's like because, well, you should see it. I mean, it's not totally based in reality.
Nice. And for me, I was also going to say Mandalorian, but so we got two Mandalorians. But I would, and I don't really like Star Wars. It's brilliant. I'm going to go with an old movie that I recently watched that speaks to the current affair more than any time, I think, in its history, and that's called A Face in the Crowd by Elia Kazan, directed by Elia Kazan, 1957, starring Andy Griffith.
Andy Griffith.
And it'll blow your mind. It's Andy Griffith like you've never seen him before. So.
And it's out on Blu-ray.
Yes, Criterion.
The name of the book that I was telling you about it's brand new, available on Amazon. It's called Death by Cop. It's an important book about a terrible shooting that occurred here in Connecticut 15, 20 years ago.
Right.
And the story is written by the brother of the victim and the trial judge.
And who's the brother of the victim?
It's Franklin Reed was the victim, and the brother is Wayne Reed. He's the author, and it's trial judge Charles Gill. It's a great book.
Okay.
And with that, we are out of time.
Thank you, Eastside Pizza.
And that was it for our first episode. I hope we're feeling good. I'm kind of sweaty.
Thank you, Beef.
Thank you, Beef. All right, we will be back another time, another place. No, same place, same bad time. Did you already stop the recording?
No, not yet.
You can stop the recording. Bye.
They killed the giggler, man. They killed the giggler! They had no business doing that. None.
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown.